The purpose of the film you are about to see is to put before you the facts about a danger that confronts us. It will tell you what you must know in order to survive. For your own safety, it is important that you believe only the truth. And that is what you are about to see. As you know, your government and the government of Soviet Russia have been sending satellites into outer space to observe conditions that human explorers are liable to encounter when they get there. As part of our program, the satellite Spacemaster was put into orbit 1,000 miles above the Earth some months ago. Its official designation was XM712. It carried recording devices, radio transmitters, cameras, and the usual non-human passengers. It differed in one respect from other satellites launched during the past year. Provisions were made for bringing it back from outer space intact. Successfully placed in orbit at 0700 on the morning of December 4th as scheduled. Moon watch stations, radar scopes, and instruments kept track of it, observing it night and day as it hurtled comet-like 1,000 miles up through outer space. These are the men who put the Spacemaster into orbit and who brought it back to Earth intact. Among them were scientists and engineers from many of the great universities of the country. Also present on the morning I speak of were John Hand, assigned to security duty with this office, and an Army orderly named Radigan, and Dr. Charles T. Palmer, formerly of Johns Hopkins, was the biologist attached to the project.
50,000 feet, Dr. Palmer. It's re-entered safely.
Good. Then I have my sample from outer space. Looks like Palmer got what he was after.
Now you'll have a chance to prove there's life in outer space.
Sure. Little green men in flying saucers. Wrong, Mr. Hand. Not little green men. Tell me, do you find this planet so lonely that you have to look to the stars for company? I put the chance that we'll find any creatures in the universe that resemble us in any way at 1,000,000,000 to 1. Oh, I'm convinced there's life out there. But in a form so strange as to be beyond anything you can imagine.
30,000 feet.
This is Hand, security. 712 is coming down. Let me know as soon as you get a fix on its landing. Right.
I'll hold here.
Triangulation by radar pinpointed the exact spot on the desert floor where the satellite impacted, and troops were sent to recover the remains of the space vehicle and the equipment it carried. One such piece of equipment was a special canister designed by Dr. Charles Palmer for the purpose of bringing back samples of microscopic life from outer space. He was given permission to work on the contents of this canister in his own laboratory. Private Radigan was assigned to drive him there.
Thank you, Radigan.
Dr. Palmer, I'd sure like to see your lab.
Oh, very well. Come along.
Thank you.
Oh, Radigan, not tonight.
What? Yes, sir.
So you've come back, huh?
Yes, but I'm not going to stay.
No?
No, and I don't want anyone to know I came here.
Well, I've always kept your little secrets, haven't I? Oh, the torch is out, huh?
Completely.
For being a selfish man, I'm sorry. Who is he?
My husband.
Oh, congratulations. Well, we have to drink to the man who made an honest woman of you.
Well, now, Charles, I'm not going to
Make
stay.
some martinis. You know how I like them.
You haven't changed a bit, have you?
Why should I change? I suppose he's the reason you're here.
You don't suppose at all. You know he's the reason. Where is he?
Boarding school. House without a woman is no place for a boy.
Neither is a boarding school. I can take care of him now. I want him.
Bring your husband around sometime. We'll talk it over.
I can't do that.
You mean you haven't told him about us?
No, and I'm not going to.
What's he going to think if you come home with the boy?
People adopt children.
We better give the matter some thought.
Please, Charles.
With a little dusting, you'll find the spare bedroom habitable.
I wouldn't stay here under any circumstances.
Oh, come now, Laura. You weren't always so puritanical. I said we'd have to give the matter some thought.
My husband doesn't know I'm here. He thinks I'm at home waiting for him.
Where's home?
Hawaii.
Where's he?
He's on a business trip.
Well, then you see, we have plenty of time to talk.
Charles,
Laura, I'm in the middle of an experiment. You know me well enough to know what that means.
we don't have lots of time. I've got to get home before he does.
That's your concern, not mine.
Well, I'm not going to stay here.
It is a fact, well known to all astronomers, that a reddish rust or blight seems to cover the planet Mars during regular seasons. I therefore came to the conclusion that the stuff was a highly destructive fungus, reproducing itself by microscopic spores. Its spores may incubate and set up new growth in less than a minute under ideal conditions, or in a matter of weeks under less favorable conditions. These microscopic spores may be carried unwittingly by any person who has contact with the organism, either on his clothing or his skin. Because of its color, I call this organism blood rust. 2:32 p.m., Wednesday, 12th, feeding cultures again. This is the 20th time since their incubation. As the specimens grow, their need for nourishment also increases. The specimens tolerate only protein in their diet. They might be called carnivorous, in fact.
You've got to talk to me. I can't stay here much longer.
I told you not to bother me.
Why are you doing this? Why can't you be more human?
Will you please get out and leave me alone? I'll talk to you later.
No.
Yes. What is it?
Doctor, this is Hand. I'm checking to find out how your experiment is coming.
My experiment is coming fine. It's successful. There's life in outer space.
May I come out?
No, you may not. I'll call you when I'm ready for you.
That arrogant.
I know what you mean. I sure got the brush last night.
He's on to something, all right. Only he isn't ready to talk about it. He says there is life in outer space.
Hey, that's terrific news. He's probably confirmed his theory. Developed the spores of some parasitic plant life. Boy, what I'd give to be working with him.
Wait a minute. Sit down.
Yes, sir.
How do you know so much about him?
Oh, I met him when I was going to college. I attended all his lectures. Then, later, I was working for my master's degree. I was his assistant for a while.
Master's degree, huh?
Yes, sir.
And now you're driving a Jeep, huh?
Well, it's a lot better than baking bread. You know, that's what they had me doing when I was first drafted. You know, I was on my way to being a pretty good cook, too. A little too fancy for the Army, perhaps, but imaginative. Anyway, somebody found out I had a master's degree, so they transferred me over to this outfit.
You know Thomas so well. Why doesn't he do something for you?
He will, when he gets around to it. He's a strange man. He's sharp as a razor and just about as narrow. He's got a streak of cruelty in him a yard wide. If you don't mind, sir, when you drive out there, I'd sure like to go along.
The pleasure's all yours.
Thank you, sir.
Interconnecting neurons throughout the mass supply the motile impulses that conduct all its functions. These apparently originate in the nearest ganglion. A remarkable feature of this organism is that every ganglion... is that each individual ganglion connects with every other one. In fact, it is one huge and highly developed brain. At the slightest disturbance, each ganglion is capable of shooting out countless tiny spores. These invisible spores, I am convinced, will settle on any living thing that dares to approach it. And after a period of incubation, will proceed to devour it.
Will you please go away?
Not until we get this settled.
All right, wait in there. All right, now, what's so important?
I want my son. Please let me have him.
What about your husband? Will he be a good father?
Of course he will. He's a wonderful man.
Wonderful. If he's so wonderful, why are you afraid to tell him about us?
Because he's jealous. He's so jealous he'd leave me if he knew. I can't risk that. I've got love, and I've got security. Things I've never had before.
Well, if you've got all that, what do you want the boy for?
He's my son.
Mine, too.
But what do you do with him? You don't give him any love. You keep him in a boarding school.
All right. All right. You can have him. See? I'm not as heartless as you think I am. I wrote a letter to the school telling them to send him to you at midterm. I said you were the sister of my dead wife. Oh, beautiful things haven't changed yours, have they?
Please.
Everything's exactly the same. Please believe that everything is you.
You touch me again, I'll kill you.
I think you would at that. All right, this is what you came for. Here, take it and get out. The primary stages of culture B have started with the same degree of inactivity, which with additional protein induction should begin to accelerate.
I'm going.
However, the... Goodbye.
I'm sorry I hit you.
It doesn't matter. Goodbye. However,
forgetting you ever saw me.
Saw who? I'm all by myself.
Thanks.
Let's call it a night.
Yes, sir.
Hand speaking. Who is it? Speak up.
This place must be completely destroyed. Burn every stick of it. Burn it to the ground.
Wait. The window. Outbreak of blood rust, even the jeep used by Radigan and Hand was destroyed. Because of the potential importance of Dr. Palmer's tape recording, it was thoroughly decontaminated by immersion and fumigation. Hand and Radigan themselves went through a most rigorous decontamination routine. Complete immersion in phenol solution followed by a thorough scrubbing according to surgical procedures. By the time Hand and Radigan completed their decontamination, a vast concerted effort was underway to prevent any spread of the blood rust. The Army, the FBI, and the New Mexico State Police sent representatives to confer with John Hand.
We carried out total decontamination for 50 yards in every direction from the place where 712 was recovered.
Good.
We didn't depend on the fire that destroyed Dr. Palmer's lavatory. We completed a decontamination there, too.
Then we may be all right, providing Palmer had no human contacts. Did you check on him?
Well, he lived in an isolated area. As far as we could tell, he had none.
I hope not.
One human contact, one unwitting person who spreads this thing can carry contagion all over the country, all over the world. Can't we put out an alarm, make an appeal to anyone who... No. Panic is the danger. Can you imagine the hysteria news of this thing would create?
The tape is ready, sir.
Go ahead, Radigan.
Because of its color, I call this organism blood rust. 2:32 p.m., Wednesday, 12th, feeding cultures again. This is the 20th time since their incubation. As the specimens grow, their need for nourishment also increases. The specimens tolerate only protein in their diet. They might be called carnivorous, in fact.
You've got to talk to me. I can't stay here much longer.
I told you not to bother me.
Why are you doing this? Why can't you be more human?
Will you please get out and leave me alone?
Turn it back to the woman's voice. Yes, sir.
Their diet. They might be called carnivorous, in fact.
You've got to talk to me. I can't stay here much longer.
I told you not to bother me.
Why are you doing this? Why can't you be more human?
Will you please get out and leave me alone? I'll talk to you later.
No.
She was there the afternoon of the 12th. We broke into his house that night. She might have been there for several hours.
I have an idea she was there a lot longer than that, sir. The night I drove Dr. Palmer home was the 11th. As we drove up, I asked the doctor if I could see his lab. He said, sure, come on in. And he noticed something in the house. He changed his mind. He gave me a quick brush off just like that.
Obviously, he knew her well.
Palmer never had anything to do with women. No time for it.
This once he found time. Colonel, may I suggest you release the story to the press that Palmer's death was accidental? I agree with you that panic is the real danger. But we must make every effort to find that woman.
It was a discouraging search. John Hand had only 2 bits of information to go on. The woman's voice told him she was young, and the remote location of Dr. Palmer's house made it probable that she had gone to it by taxicab.
Your name Rettlinger?
Yeah.
You were on duty yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know Dr. Palmer's house out on Las Cruces Road?
Nope.
Did you pick up a fare, a young woman, somewhere out in that direction?
No, sir. You better be pretty sure about that, Mr. Rettlinger. We're trying to round up everyone who came in contact with that woman for emergency treatment.
I'm sure.
Hey, mister, wait a minute. What's the matter with the team?
Just tell us where you picked her up.
Atomic radiation, huh? Something like that?
Where'd you pick her up?
It couldn't hurt a guy sitting up front, could it?
It could kill you.
Kill me? You mean it? All right, so I picked her up, out at that place on Las Cruces Road. She gave me $20 to keep my mouth shut.
Where'd you take her?
To the station. She caught the El Camino westbound, checked her suitcase through to L.A. L.A.?
I'm afraid you'll have to come with us, Mr. Rettlinger.
Wait a minute. Where to?
Decontamination.
Decontamination?
John Hand gave orders to keep everyone away from Rettlinger's cab until it could be taken away and burned. On the way to decontamination, Hand got a complete description of the woman and her luggage from the frightened camp driver. Using the 2-way radio in the Jeep, Hand requested the Army to provide a jet bomber to take him and Radigan to Los Angeles. The jet Hand requested was warmed up and waiting when Hand and Radigan reached the airport. They took off for Los Angeles at almost the same moment that Laura Greeling's train was arriving there.
Your attention, please. Will passengers arriving on the El Camino, train number 21, kindly present their baggage check at the baggage counter.
When she went to the baggage counter to claim her baggage, she was told by the clerk she would have to wait a few moments.
Miriam Hollow, kindly come to the station master's office. Miriam Hollow, kindly come to the station master's office.
when Laura Greeling started running in blind panic. She thought she was being sought for questioning in a murder case. She was supposed to be in Honolulu waiting for her husband to come home. Instead, she was 2,000 miles away and liable to be involved in a scandal at any moment.
Operator, I'd like to make a collect call to Honolulu, Hawaiian Islands. 14117.
Your name and number, please.
This is Mrs. Greeling. Lorraine 69418.
Thank you. I have a collect call for Mrs. Greeling. Will you accept the charges? Yes.
Hello? Jody? This is Laura.
Laura, where are you?
Los Angeles. Has Bill come home yet?
No, he phoned yesterday afternoon from Maui. He said he'd be home Sunday.
Sunday. I've got to get a plane out of here tonight. If I can't, I'll call you.
Don't worry, I'm staying close if he calls again.
Thanks, honey. Bye.
Bye.
All units are asked to be on the lookout for a young woman. She is described as 5 feet 4 inches tall, blue eyes, blonde hair, about 27 years of age. When last seen, she was wearing a brown suede coat.
Department helicopter brought Hand and Radigan to an isolated sidetrack in the Los Angeles freight yards, just 70 minutes after Laura Greeling's train pulled in.
Mr. Hand? I'm Deputy Chief Ryder, the man you were talking to from the jet.
How do you do? Any luck finding the woman?
Nobody answering her description showed up at the baggage counter. We've got an all-points bulletin out on her.
Everything all set?
All ready for you.
Fine.
Mr. Hand, Battalion Chief Hendry.
Glad to know you. Hi, Mr. Radigan. How are you, sir?
Who gets this suit?
I do.
Are you sure you don't want one of our men to go in?
No. Radigan knows exactly what to look for.
Okay, let's press it.
Give me a hand.
We've set up emergency decontamination facilities in that shed over there.
When did the conductor first notice the blood rust in the baggage car?
About 3 a.m. in the Mojave Desert just outside Barstow.
Good thing he had sense enough to lock the door and stay out.
The expressman's still in there. What's left of him.
Good luck, Joe.
Cab driver, Rettlinger, had described the woman's suitcase in detail. It was of distinctive lightweight material, further identified by Japanese steamship stickers, and was confident the suitcase would provide information of value to him.
He's not out in 3 minutes. We'll send somebody in after him. Send him in.
Go ahead.
With the baggage car?
All through.
Okay, burn it.
The suitcase was immersed in a powerful antiseptic solution until its contents were thoroughly saturated. Then it was opened in the hope of finding clues to the missing woman's identity.
Size 10 dress from Marshall Fields in Chicago. Jacket from Monique of Paris. Slacks from the Aloha shop in Honolulu.
We started out with just a voice, then we got a pretty fair description. Now we know she wears size 10 dress and buys her clothes all the way from Paris to Honolulu.
That really narrows it down, huh? Hey.
Trans-Orient Airways. Flight 70, check it.
Yes, sir. Get me Trans-Orient Airways. Operations. I'd like some information on flight number 70. Destination?
Thank you.
I see. Thank you. Flight number 70 is a Honolulu to Los Angeles run. It arrives Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 9 p.m.
That cabbie Rettlinger, they flew him in for us. They're taking him directly to identification.
The cab driver, Rettlinger, was brought to Los Angeles by the fastest means available. As the only person known to have seen the missing woman, his help was of the utmost importance.
I'm sorry we had to rush you, but you're the only one that can help us identify this woman.
I told you before. So high, big blue eyes, nice figure. Oh.
Yes. Mr. Harris, Mr. Rettlinger.
I do. Hi.
Would you sit there, please?
Thanks. Now, this girl was a doll.
Mr. Rettlinger, would you say this was the general shape of the face?
Oh, that looks too much like a prize fighter. She had a nice chin, you know. No,
How about this?
No, too square.
Square.
A little more on the...
Rounded.
Yeah, no, that's more like it.
Don't like it?
How about the hair? Her hair?
Yeah, she had nice hair. Looked like she just stepped out of a beauty parlor. Let me see this. Put that on. Yeah, that's nice.
No.
What about her mouth?
We'll give her a kind of a pretty one. One with a smile on it. Kind of very nice. And she got pretty teeth, too.
How about this?
No. You got something that shows the teeth?
Here we are.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
How about the eyes?
Nice big blue eyes. You know, she had those black lashes around.
How about that?
No, too sleepy. Let me see what you got there.
How about this?
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Now. And she had eyebrows that, you know, like those they pull out with pliers, you know.
Pluck.
Those...
A little bushy, huh?
Yeah. No, now you're getting there. Let me see, there's something missing.
She did have a nose, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, nose. Little pug nose. Kind of cute.
Any of these?
Let me see. Yeah, let's try this one here. No, that isn't it.
How about this one?
Yeah, try that. Hey, now you got it.
She's getting better all the time.
If I had a name and address, we'd be old friends. Is there anything you want to add or change to this?
No, that's as close as I can get to it.
Get this picture out as fast as you can.
Hey, what happens to me now?
Well, he'll take care of you.
Orient Airways.
Reservations, please.
Ticket information.
Hello, this is Mrs. Greeling calling. I called before. I'd like to get on a flight to Honolulu tonight.
Nothing open yet, ma'am, but I'm sure we'll have something. May we call you?
Yes. MA 07455. Thank you. Coffee, please.
This is an emergency bulletin direct from the Los Angeles Police Department. Anyone seeing or knowing the whereabouts of this young woman, blonde, age 27, wearing a brown suede coat, kindly contact the Los Angeles Police Department immediately. Telephone Michigan 5211. This has been a police emergency bulletin.
To Laura Greeley, it seemed that every eye was upon her. Her one impulse was to get off of the street, to get away from those prying eyes. She checked into a small hotel using the name of Alice Thompson.
Thank you.
Down this afternoon. Here's
Would you
a
get me
very special
Transorient
special
Airlines, please?
on a 1957 Mercury, fully equipped, power seats, power windows, power brakes, power steering, yours for only $2,650, the ideal family car. Now, if you don't want to spend quite so much money for an automobile, how about this gem? This is a beautiful
Transorient Airways.
I have a return ticket to Honolulu. Do you have any space available this afternoon or this evening?
Nothing open yet, ma'am. May we call you?
Yes. I'm Alice Thompson. I'm at the Gage Hotel. Thank you.
Whatever you were looking for, whatever you want to find, we've got it down here.
This is an emergency bulletin. Anyone seeing or knowing the whereabouts of this young woman, blonde,
Mutual 27205, please.
Laura Greeling had changed her name. Now, in her desperation, she knew she must change her appearance as well.
Do you have anything in a tweed coat about size 12? Thank you.
John Hand worked late at police headquarters, checking possible leads that might take him to the missing woman.
Radigan, extension 31. Thank you.
Hand speaking. Thank you. I'll rush right over. Clerk phone, small hotel in the Wilshire district. Says he's sure that the woman we're after just checked in using the name of Thompson.
Hello?
Miss Thompson?
Yes?
This is Transorient. We have a last-minute cancellation on our 11 o'clock flight to Honolulu. Can you go to the airport immediately?
Yes, I'll leave right away.
We'll hold your reservation until 5 minutes before takeoff.
Thank you.
While Laura Greeling was slipping out of the hotel unnoticed, Hand and Radigan were racing through the streets of Los Angeles.
Why, she's gone.
Looks that way.
Hey, you must have done a lot of shopping.
She sure did. The minute she got into the room, she got on that phone. Airlines, department stores, even a drugstore.
Drugstore, huh?
That's right. Had all the stuff delivered. Big rush. New luggage, too.
Hey. There you are.
That does it. She called the airlines, you say?
That's right. Transorient, Pan American.
Where was she interested in going?
Well, I just happened to hear. I don't make a practice of listening to...
Yes, I know. Where was she going?
Honolulu. Wanted in the worst way to get out tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
It all figures. Those pictures scared her. She holed up here to disguise herself.
Drugstore. $5 will get you 10 she dyed her hair.
She came from Honolulu, now she's trying to get back. There are a couple of flights leaving tonight. I want you to get down to the airport fast. I'll call you as soon as I get some information. What kind of clothes she bought and what she looks like now.
All right, I'll contact...
Go ahead, I'll take care of that.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Give me the U.S. Army Chemical Warfare Service at Fort MacArthur, please.
Trans-Orient Airlines, Flight 12 to Honolulu, now loading at Gate 6. Will Miss Alice Thompson report to the main office of the air terminal, please? Miss Alice Thompson.
Can I help you, please?
Do you have space on Flight 12 to Honolulu?
Yes, there have been several cancellations. Hold 12 for a single, please.
I have my return ticket.
Trans-Orient Airways. Oh, Mrs. Greeling. Yes, I'll have him paged and tell him. You forgot to check your luggage.
Oh.
They're holding the plane for you. Please hurry.
Thank you.
Will Mr. Radigan please report to the Trans-Orient Airlines ticket counter, please?
Hi, Mr. Radigan.
Hey, Mr. Hand called you a few moments ago. He said the woman you're looking for is wearing a tweed coat, and she's now a brunette.
Thank you. Did a passenger by the name of Alice Thompson check in?
Miss Thompson has a reservation on Flight 12 for Honolulu, but I guess she's a no-show. They've been paging her.
Are there any good-looking brunettes on Flight 12?
Several.
Any of them wearing tweed coats?
2 or 3. One just left here for the plane. Pretty girl named Greeling.
Would you please sit down and fasten your seatbelt, sir?
Transorient 12, clear to take off, north-south runway.
Welcome aboard Transorient Airways Flight 12 to Honolulu. Your captain is Mr. Vaccarino, first officer Mr. Jared, navigator Mr. Fraser, and engineer Mr. Dale. Your stewardesses are Miss Bonestell and myself, Miss Archer. Estimated time of arrival in Honolulu is 6:45 a.m. We are now flying at 18,000 feet. We will maintain this altitude throughout most of this flight. Thank you.
Miss Archer, who's the young lady in seat 3C?
Miss Jean Myers.
How about the brunette across the aisle from her?
Mrs. Laura Greeling.
Are there any other good-looking brunettes on this flight wearing tweed coats?
One more right over there.
Would it be possible to clear the lounge? I'd like to talk to these young ladies one by one.
If it's necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Very well.
John Hand made an immediate effort to get in touch with Radigan through the radio facilities of the airport control tower. He was not able to establish contact, however, until Flight 12 was well out over the Pacific.
Get me Transorient 12, please. Transorient 12, this is Los Angeles Center. Over.
Los Angeles Center, this is Transorient 12. Go ahead.
Okay, Transorient 12. We have a Mr. Hand from the Office of Internal Security here. He has an urgent message for one of his agents, a passenger named Radigan.
Roger, we'll get him. Stand by.
This is the entire passenger list.
Mr. Radigan, they want you up forward, please.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Los Angeles Center, this is Transorient 12. We have passenger Radigan for you. Stand by. Press to talk.
Radigan speaking.
Radigan, is she aboard?
I don't know. I'm just going to take a look.
If you haven't found out yet, what are you doing on that plane?
Following 2 or 3 good-looking brunettes wearing tweed coats. That's what you said she was wearing. What else is she wearing?
I haven't found out yet. Check the women as fast as you can and report back, will you?
Right.
Los Angeles Center, Orient 12 out. What's this all about, Mr. Radigan?
Well, Captain, you know what a typhoid Mary is? A carrier of contagion?
Yeah?
That good-looking brunette you just heard me talking about might be 1,000 typhoid Marys rolled up in one.
Oh, fine. What happens if you find her?
We'll turn back.
Turn back? Well, mister, you haven't got all night to find her. Long about 3 a.m., we'll be too far out to turn back.
Mr. Radigan will explain, Miss Myers.
Miss Myers, I'm looking for a girl. It's vital that I find her. The lives of everyone on this plane may depend on it. The next girl, please.
That would be Mrs. Laura Greeling.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mrs. Greeling?
Yes?
My name is Radigan. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Of course.
Do you have some means of identification?
My ticket with my name on it.
Thank you. Do you live in Honolulu?
Yes.
Do you have a driver's license?
Yes, but not with me.
Where did you go on your trip?
Los Angeles and Van Nuys, California. I have relatives in Van Nuys.
May I see the label in your coat?
Yes.
Where did you buy this coat?
Beverly Hills. It helps.
Thank you. You've been very cooperative. By the way, you have lovely hair.
Thank you. I must admit I do touch it up a bit.
Would you go in now, please?
Sure.
Oh, no, sweetheart, not now. Why not?
My name is Radigan. Your name, please?
Elaine Froman.
Could you show me some sort of identification?
I could, but why should I?
Would you look at this card again, please?
Office of Internal Security.
This involves the security of our country. Now, I'd like to see some identification.
Of course. Driver's license, credit cards, and credentials from my company. I'm a buyer for Langdon's in New York.
Where's your coat?
The stewardess has it.
I'd like to see it.
My coat, please.
How much longer is the point of no return?
Less than an hour.
Give him a call.
Transorient 12, Los Angeles Center.
You bought this coat in New York, Miss Froman?
I got it in New York. I'm a buyer, Mr. Radigan. A buyer never buys anything for herself.
Mr. Radigan, to the flight deck, please.
Excuse me. This is Radigan.
Radigan, they tell me you're less than 40 minutes from the point of no return. What have you found out?
2 of the women check out. The third one calls herself Jean Myers. I'll go to work on her.
Get busy, will you? You don't have much time.
Yes, sir. Would you mind?
I can see this. Oh, certainly.
You say your name is Jean Myers. Can you prove it?
Of course. I have a driver's license and some traveler's checks. Well, I must have left them in my other purse.
And where is your other purse?
I packed it in my suitcase. I can certainly identify myself as soon as we get to Honolulu.
That won't do. I have to find out now.
Find out what?
Miss Myers, there is a species of fungus that threatens the Earth today. Its discoverer, Dr. Palmer, called it blood rust. I've seen the blood rust. It killed the man who discovered it. I saw what was left of it. The woman I'm looking for may be a carrier of this stuff. She was the woman who was with Palmer the day before he was killed. Now, are you that woman?
No, I swear I'm not.
All right, give me your baggage check. I'll have to get your suitcase. If your story about the other purse isn't true, you might as well tell me now.
It is true.
I've got to get into the baggage compartment.
You'll have to go through the emergency hatch. Jim, take him back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to disturb you. Will you please move forward? I need this area cleared. Find any empty seats.
that man want? Why does he keep bothering us?
He says there's some horrible stuff called blood rust, that it could destroy the earth if it ever got started. And he thinks one of us might be a carrier. He says this blood rust killed the man who discovered it.
I'm the woman you're looking for. I was with Dr. Palmer.
Tell the captain to turn back. Get whatever orders you need, but get this ship turned around.
Hey, we're turning around.
It's all right. There's no emergency. It's just a precaution.
Radigan, report to the flight deck.
Button it up. This is Radigan speaking.
You found it?
Yeah, I found her, all right. I found blood rust, too. The baggage compartment's crawling with it.
Try to keep the stuff confined to the baggage compartment. Is the captain listening in?
Affirmative. Captain here.
Captain, I'm going to have to get you down as quickly as possible.
Well, Santa Barbara's our first landfall. How about Santa Barbara Airport?
No, they don't have the facilities I need. Make it the Oxnard Air Force Base.
Oxnard Air Force Base.
Aren't you afraid to come near me?
No. I've been in contact with the blood rust, too, Mrs. Greeley. Why did you run?
When I saw the story about Dr. Palmer dying in a fire, I thought that's why they wanted me. I couldn't get involved in a scandal. You see, I've got a husband I love very much.
This isn't a police matter, Mrs. Greeley. All Mr. Hand wants to do is destroy the blood rust. He's not interested in exposing your past. He'll probably never even use your name.
I hope you're right.
I'm sure of it.
Thanks.
Transorient 12, this is Los Angeles Center. Over. Orient 12, go ahead.
When will you make Oxnard Air Force Base?
Stand by, please. Orient 12, estimating Oxnard Air Force Base, 0540.
5:40 a.m. There'll be just enough daylight for us to see what we're doing.
Clear this compartment! Everybody out of here!
Please, everybody.
Get me Mr. Hand right away.
Los Angeles, Orient 12. Mr. Hand, please.
Negative, Orient 12. Mr. Hand is on his way to Oxnard Air Force Base.
Some of the stuff is getting into the ship.
Cabin pressure is dropping. Disengage the superchargers. Notify ATC this is an emergency.
lost cabin pressure. Gotta get down fast. This stuff must have forced open the outside baggage door.
Approaching the coastline. Estimate 10 minutes to Oxnard.
Bring her in as close to the emergency unit as you can.
Will do. We can't get our landing gear down. Flood rust must have damaged the hydraulic system. We'll have to make it a belly landing.
North-south runway. We'll lay a fomite path for you. Tower, acknowledge fomite path.
Tower acknowledges. Mobile units execute.
As quickly as possible, please. All emergency units, return to your stations, please.
Конец фильма.